If you're a Dasher driving for DoorDash, you seriously need to hear this. Drivers are reporting that DoorDash is sending out a brand new, kind of scary warning message when you try to unassign an order. Even Dashers with perfect ratings. I'm not talking about the usual pop out about your completion rate or your acceptance rate. This one is different. It's aggressive. And as someone who's done over 17,000 deliveries, I've never seen them be this blunt before. So the big question is this just another scare tactic to get us to take those low paying orders we know we should definitely drop? Or is this a quiet new way of them to deactivate us for just trying to do our job smart? Let's get into it because this could change how you dash from now on. All right, so what exactly is this message and why is it freaking out so many drivers? Imagine this, you accept an order, you show up at the restaurant, and here is the classic line. It's going to be another 25-minute wait. You think about it, I'll wait 10 minutes, wait for the worry-free unassigned. Well, that's not available, so darn it, I have to unassign the order. We all know time is money, so you do what any smart Dasher does. You go to unassign it, you go to cancel it, but then a new pop-up appears. According to the screenshot from another Dasher, it says, support can help. If you can't deliver this order or need help with something else, contact support. We understand things don't always go as planned. However, if you don't deliver an order you picked up, it will impact your completion rate, which could lead to loss of access to dashing, as outlined in the Dasher ICA and Platform Access Policy. At first glance, you might think, what's the big deal? They've always had a completion rate rule, but this feels different. The wrong is what really matters here. Loss of access to dashing. That's not a friendly reminder. It feels like, honestly, a direct threat. The most concerning part is drivers with high completion rates, 95%, 98%, even 100%, are reportedly seeing this pop-up message. This doesn't seem to be aimed at drivers already in the danger zone. It feels more like a blanket threat to every Dasher. So this brings up the question everyone is asking. Is this just another scare tactic, or is DoorDash quietly changing its policy? Let's look at both angles because the answer is probably somewhere in the middle, and you need to know what's happening to protect yourself as a Dasher. First, let's talk about the scare tactic theory. It's no secret that DoorDash has a big problem with order cancellations and even worse, order theft. How many times do you go in the restaurant and say, oh, your order was already taken by another Dasher? And you're like, what? It's a huge issue when a driver picks up the food and then unassigns, especially taking the meal. From a corporate point of view, this message is a weapon. It's a psychological play to make you hesitate before hitting unassign, especially after you've already confirmed the pickup. By flashing a deactivation warning, at the exact moment, they're likely hoping it pressures drivers into finishing more deliveries, even with profitable ones with crazy wait times. It's way cheaper and easier to scare all of us than it is to investigate individual cases of actual theft. The message is like a huge, intimidating net meant to catch a few bad apples. But all the good drivers kind of get caught in the mix. It's a classic corporate move. Solve a problem for the company, even if it makes things harder for the other workers. But what if it's more than just a threat? This is where things could get a little bit more tricky for us and dangerous for us. In some markets, DoorDash has been testing a new pilot program, and it's called the Overall Dasher Rating. is not just about customer rating anymore. According to drivers in the pilot areas, it's a point-based system that mixes your acceptance rate, completion rate, customer rating, on-time rating into one big huge score. And guess which metric is supposedly weighed the most? That would be your completion rate. Reportedly, it accounts for 35 of 100 points. Now, DoorDash hasn't officially rolled this out everywhere. It is very specific to certain markets. But if this is the direction they're heading, it changes honestly everything if every Dasher goes to this program. When they flash a message threatening loss of access to dashing, it suddenly has teeth. It's directly connected to a new system that could decide your access to rewards, good orders, and whether you can even stay on the platform. This isn't just a warning, it's them signaling a policy change, possibly. They're basically telling us that the days of strategically unassigning orders may be numbered. Could be. They're tightening the leash, and this message feels like the first hard pull. I don't know. What do you think? So, what's really going on? Is DoorDash trying to weed out some more Dashers? Are they building a system where only the most compliant drivers, those who take what they're given without any question, can succeed? It's hard not to see it that way. It feels like they're moving the goalpost and using fear to manage how we work as Dashers. I'm telling you, I personally think it is a scare tactic. Okay, so we see the problem and what's likely behind it. The most important thing now is what you do. Freaking out honestly won't help, it accomplishes nothing. You need a smart strategy. Here are the steps you should start taking to protect your account in this new DoorDash environment. First, and this is a big one, know when the risk is the highest. The message specifically warns about not delivering an order you've picked up. That's the key phrase. Unassigning an order before you have the food is one thing. It still hits your completion rate, but it seems to be a much lower risk move. The real danger zone with DoorDash and what they're targeting is unassigning after that you have the order and it's in your possession. To them, that looks like potential theft, and this message is clearly designed to stop it. So if you have to unassign, do everything you can to make that decision at the restaurant, not in your car with the customer's food. However, the Dasher who sent this to me got this message when she was waiting at a restaurant before she even had the order. Second, if you are in a jam and absolutely have to unassign after pickup, maybe your car dies, you might have a flat tire, or there might be a real safety issue, or the customer changes their address to another town. You can't just silently unassign. You need to create a paper trail. Contact DoorDash support right away, either through chat or by the phone. But chat, you can screenshot and have records for yourself. Explain the situation calmly and professionally. Get them to document why you are unassigning. When you're done, if you did the chat, screenshot everything that you had, the interaction between one another. That is your evidence, and that's your protection. If you ever have to appeal deactivation, that documentation could be what saves your DoorDash account. You have to build your own case. Don't expect DoorDash to do it for you. They do not have your back. Third, start treating your completion rate like it is made of gold. In the past, many of us saw it as a stat with some wiggle room. As long as you were above 80%, now it's 90%, you were usually fine. Those days might be completely over. If the new overall Dasher rating system rolls out widely, it's heavily focused on your completion rate, which makes it your lifeline. This means being pickier about the orders you possibly accept if you're not in the tier program. If you can be picky about the orders that you take, depends on your acceptance rate. Don't take an order from that one restaurant you know is always like an hour behind. Even if you are in the tier system maintaining, that's why you save some of your declines. Think twice before you accept a delivery to a massive, confusing apartment complex at night. It's better to let your acceptance rate dip than to take a bad order you know you will probably have to cancel later. Protect your completion rate. Know where it is at all times. Because DoorDash is signaling it's the number one thing that they are watching. And a lot of dashers, if you fall below that completion rate of 90%, have been getting deactivated. This is a huge deal, and it impacts every single one of us who relies on the DoorDash app. It feels like another example of a company squeezing the drivers who actually make their business run. I really want to know what you think. How would you feel if you got this morning, especially if you already have a high completion rate? Have you seen this? Has it come to your market yet? Drop a comment below. Let's talk about it, because sharing information is one of the only real tools we have to navigate a lot of these DoorDash changes. So, what's the bottom line with this new crazy, scary message from DoorDash? It's a mix of a strong arm scare tactic and what looks like a real policy shift. It's meant to cut down on cancellations and theft, but it ends up putting every driver, good or bad, under more pressure. They're using the threat of deactivation to make us comply. Yet again, when does this get old? But don't forget, you're not powerless. Be smarter than the app. Know the critical difference between unassigning before and after pickup. Document everything if you have a legitimate reason to drop an order you're holding. And above all, guard that completion rate. Know where you stand at all times. Be selective, be strategic, and don't let them scare you into making bad decisions for your own business. Last time I checked, you can still unassign as long as you don't go below 90%. Some markets it's 95%. DoorDash is always changing, and it's usually never in the favor of the driver. But by staying informed and talking with one another, we can figure out how to handle whatever they throw at us. Don't let DoorDash intimidate you. What do you think DoorDash's next move will be? Let me know in the comments. Earlier in this video, I talked about deactivations, especially when it comes to completion rates. Well, DoorDash has been doing some mass deactivations lately. You're going to want to learn all about it in this video up next, and I'll see you over there.